Me follow evidence over assumption, observation over expectation. You see, our world is full of many voices telling us what to think. But our greatest strength that we could ever develop is our ability to examine things with our own eyes, our own logic, our own God-given courage. This is not rebellion. This is responsibility. It is how science moves forward. It is how history is corrected. It is how we evolve as a species. You see, this is the path of those who seek the truth, not to destroy anything, but to understand it honestly. Because there's no growth without questioning. There's no wisdom without evidence. There's no freedom without clarity. To every seeker out there that is potentially absorbing any of this, we don't have to inherit the world as it was given to us. We have the right and the responsibility to examine it for ourselves. You see, the truth does not fear being questioned. Only fragile ideas.
So now Terrence Howard is speaking out about Katt Williams, and he's not holding back. He's saying Katt's life could actually be in danger, and this isn't just gossip floating around online. Terrence claims that both he and Katt have been targeted more than once, like somebody out there really wants them quiet.
If you take my words, my image, my ideas, and twist them to feed your fear and inflate your ego, if you profit off of my name while calling me a liar, then be prepared to stand behind your accusation.
Conversation was to show that there are spiritual things going on in the world, and that there are things that are bigger than just coincidence.
The whole thing, you gonna charge me with child endangerment? After I adopted 7 children and had them for 14 years in this state? Really? You coming after my kids now? Cause it was already a witch hunt. Now you want my baby?
Terrence even hinted that the reason he shows up the way he does, mixing wild statements with real facts, is on purpose. He basically said it's a survival move. In his view, when people speak too directly about powerful figures, things can get dark real fast. So he plays it smart, says just enough, but never too clean, almost like he's moving in code to protect himself. And Katt has said similar things before. He claimed that once he started calling out certain heavy hitters in the industry, threats started rolling in. He even suggested that people tried to pressure him through his family, which is a serious claim.
Care how people feel about the ritual. It's about does following the ritual work. And so you can fool yourself into thinking there isn't one, but the evidence, I understood that the earliest I had seen that word transgender was Baphomet, the transgender. And so I knew that in the ritual of Baphomet, the transgender, to show allegiance to him, you had to kiss his ass ring. Really? And it said both of those things. So I knew that both of those things would become popular in the future. And that somehow calling people the GOAT would be normalized.
Now, with the Epstein files back in headlines and Katt touching sensitive topics again, people are asking questions. Is he really in danger? Who feels exposed? And why do the loudest voices always seem to face the biggest pushback? Now, Terrence just dropped a message aimed at Katt and anyone else who's been labeled crazy, threatened, or brushed off for speaking uncomfortable truths about those in power.
With a real and in my real face on real camera, understand.
Jeffrey Epstein, his bank accounts.
What is
he
the
named
bank?
it Baal, like the demon.
Oh, Baal.
Like the demonic
like
god.
Baal, that's yeah.
That god, ancient Babylonians, they used to sacrifice kids and eat to this god thing. And they're still referencing that.
My goodness.
And they've been referencing that.
Yeah, everywhere.
Guy here, God is good.
Huh?
God is good.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
No, but I do have a good mirror.
I can speak with impunity about the Illuminati because I know who you would have to be in order for what I'm saying to bother.
All of us are against the Illuminati, and we are against the Illuminati at our own detriment. When people are against the Illuminati, then they get punched in the face all the time. The press hates them, and nobody likes them. But now, it's not necessary for us to stir up that hornet's nest unless we intend to get stung 1,000,000 times. I didn't understand that. They had to sting me 1,000,000 times. I'm still not going to join, but I respect them.
And Terrence Howard is basically saying people like Katt Williams, the ones who notice patterns and connect dots others ignore, have a duty to speak up. In his view, if you see something off and stay quiet, that's on you. And if certain folks get upset when the truth gets close to home, there's usually a reason they're reacting like that. Katt has been saying the same thing for years. He's made it clear that when people get irritated by what he talks about, it's probably because he struck a nerve. If it wasn't real or didn't matter, why would anyone feel pressed about it? But here's where it turns serious. There have been reports claiming Katt's life was allegedly threatened after he started speaking on topics that used to be brushed off as wild theories. Now that the Epstein files are back in public view, some of what he mentioned seems to match up, at least in people's eyes.
People exist because it's a very powerful concept to have and far too lucrative and beneficial to not be attempted.
Yeah, I mean, if I was going to run some global power organization, I would try to co-opt every single leader, try to suck them in, offer support, bring them out to wherever the fuck I have my big-ass meetings, fly everybody in private jets, talk about the climate crisis.
All organizations have to follow the same rules.
Yeah, that's wild.
Recruitment is an important facet of all.
We have to get some young global leaders.
Well, understand, this is the only reason that we can talk about these big Illuminati-like entities at this period of time. It's just because of time. Like, they aged out. Like, you can't get in new, so everybody got decrepit over there, and they can't exchange, really, through this period of history. And so that's how we ended up with the Bob Lazars and everything. Throughout history, you could really, it was much easier to get people to not tell nobody.
Right.
As part of your job. You know what I mean?
Imagine going to a World Economic Forum party. What did those freaks do when all the listening devices have been scanned out of the room? All their phones been put into bags and locked away in a lead vault? What do those freaks do? Because you know it's not normal shit. You know everybody's buttoned down like that and wants to control the world. There's something involved that's outlandish that they keep a secret. That's always been the case in secret societies. I mean, that's the whole Eyes Wide Shut thing. That there's some freak shit going on behind the scenes to anybody that really wants to control everything. You don't just want to control everything. You want to control everything so you can get away with some freak shit too.
Right, I'm saying, but these Epstein-like characters have existed throughout history. Whether they were kings or what, human beings are human beings universally. So everybody is a supplier. Epstein, Weinstein, these guys knew what these extremists like.
Some are even pointing to his sit-down on the Joe Rogan Experience, where he spoke about what elites allegedly worship and the rumored behind-the-scenes rituals. Now, a lot of people were quick to label Katt Williams a conspiracy guy when he first said this stuff, brushing him off like he was just talking wild. But fast forward to now, and some of the topics he mentioned are popping up in discussions around the Epstein files. Some of those emails people keep reposting are disturbing and hard to read, and critics claim they echo points Katt had already raised years ago.
In Beverly Hills, Suge has brought his son with him, who's 5 years old. Suge's son runs behind the dumpster and urinates, and a lady films his penis out and then says, "Oh, I thought that was Katt's kid." that lady said that she got jumped on by me. Like, this isn't just my word. They had to play the video in court, which showed that her altercation wasn't with a man at all.
Yeah, they don't add that piece. They
No,
just say,
nor do they make a retraction.
Right.
Nor do they say, hey, that thing we told you about that guy, turns out it was nothing. I got 15 cases that were dismissed. That should be talked about. Why would 15 cases be?
Williams that taught me how to be Jaguar, right? And he picked up the phone, and it was the fucking CEO of fucking Comedy Central. And I listened to him threaten to kill him. He said, I'm not doing this. And then that's when all the incidents started.
One email people online keep pointing to allegedly shows Jeffrey Epstein discussing ideas with biologist Robert Trivers about gender biology. The messages being shared claim Epstein asked to see Trivers' work on transgender biology, and Trivers reportedly replied that it is possible to manipulate certain traits on a molecular level. These screenshots have been circulating heavily, and supporters say this isn't rumor, but documented communication being discussed publicly. Then it gets even more intense.
If the police come in and raid my place and break into my gun boxes, you're gonna find guns, but these aren't, well, I'm not in a gang. What difference does it make?
Now, you were actually stopped for this and let go because you have a license for it,
No,
right?
this is their 9th time coming to my house. The problem was this time they came to my office and took my kids from an office, not from my house, from an office. So now when I can't have my kids at my office,
that's an issue.
I must be the most terrible black dude. Because here's the whole thing. You're gonna charge me with child endangerment? After I adopted 7 children and had them for 14 years in this state? Really? You coming after my kids now? Because it was already a witch hunt. Now you want my babies? Yikes. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X ended up dead for telling the truth. So as a comedian, I don't think it won't happen to me. I think they've thrown me in jail 36 times in 36 months, and I think you've never seen me in a court of law. That means they're effing with me. And today, they crossed the line, because now they took my baby.
In the email being quoted online, Trivers allegedly wrote, "By the way, we are now pushing the intervention earlier. So you notice your 3-year-old son has trans tendencies, so now you intervene with hormones. I would be frightened to do that, but who knows?" That line has shocked a lot of people, especially parents reading it. And critics are saying, this is exactly the type of thing Katt and even Terrence Howard have been warning about for years. They also bring up his appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience, where he talked about alleged rituals and claimed certain elites follow beliefs most people would never expect. Well, critics are saying the Epstein emails appear to back that up. And when people talk about the Epstein files, they keep pointing out that Katt Williams didn't just start speaking on this last week. He's been saying these things long before it became headline news. Katt has argued that Jeffrey Epstein didn't just randomly end up around billionaires and world leaders. According to him, that kind of access isn't luck. He believes Epstein was placed in those circles for a reason, and that level of power doesn't happen by accident. So now the big question is this. If Katt keeps speaking on topics mainstream outlets barely touch, like Epstein's alleged links to controversial research or claims about secret belief systems, is he really safe? He has said before that there were efforts to silence him, and supporters think he's stepping into even riskier territory now. Remember, Katt once said he stopped mentioning the Illuminati for a while because he got stung too many times. At that point, he admitted he didn't fully understand the level of pressure he was dealing with, and that realization alone says a lot. Back then, most people didn't take Katt Williams seriously at all. They brushed him off and said he was blaming everything on the Illuminati, like it was just talk. But as the years passed, the situations around him started looking stranger and stranger. There were multiple arrests, public incidents, and even conversations about getting him evaluated mentally, which only made fans raise their eyebrows. Even after his career exploded, the weird moments didn't slow down. One of the earliest happened in 2009 in a Walmart parking lot in Georgia, where police took his legally owned firearms but didn't end up charging him with a crime. Incidents like that left supporters confused and wondering what was really happening behind closed doors. Katt later spoke to Vibe magazine and said, "This is a witch hunt. It's getting to the point where I feel like I'm being persecuted because this don't make no sense." Those were his exact words, and he sounded frustrated. Then, in December 2012, Things escalated when authorities accused him of endangering his children after a police visit to his home. The charges were later dropped due to lack of evidence, but Katt has maintained the entire situation felt like another attempt to damage his name and reputation. Then in 2014, Katt Williams and Suge Knight were arrested together over an alleged situation involving a paparazzi camera. Headlines instantly framed it like they just attacked a random photographer for no reason. But Katt later said the story was deeper than what the public was told. According to reports at the time, the paparazzi were allegedly provoking them, and things escalated fast. There were even claims that someone close to Suge's family was being bothered during the chaos, which made the moment even more intense. Katt insisted it wasn't some random outburst like the media made it seem. While all these arrests and accusations were piling up, tabloids kept pushing the image that Katt was unstable and out of control. They painted him like an addict spiraling in public. But here's what stands out. None of those cases ever led to a felony conviction, and he never served prison time. Somehow, despite all the noise, he managed to sidestep every legal trap thrown his way. Now that he's speaking on heavier topics tied to the Epstein files, some insiders claim the stakes could be higher. Powerful names do not like being questioned, especially when attention shifts to uncomfortable territory. Supporters are hoping Katt and Terrence Howard stay safe, because once conversations hit sensitive ground, pressure can build fast. So what do you think? Katt spoke on issues long before they were trending. Could he actually be at risk now that the spotlight feels darker? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and check out the next video. I'll see you on the next one.